Welcome to the Stop Suffering in Silence podcast with your host, Denise Walsh and Rachel Timothy.
Hello, you guys. Welcome to our first ever live educational awareness fundraiser for Stop SIS. Stop SIS stands for Stop Suffering in Silence, and we work primarily with trauma and trafficking survivors, educating communities on how to keep their kids safe, as well as empowering those on the healing journey. All right, well, we are moving to another section. This section is all about, we kind of ruffled feathers on how this is happening in our schools and on internet and in our own backyard in strip malls. But now we want to go into some education on what we can do as parents to keep our kids safe. So if you have not yet shared the live, like, comment, put that you shared here. We are spreading awareness about trauma and trafficking and impacting those on the healing journey. My name is Denise. I'm a clinical psychologist. Rachel is a trafficking survivor, and we speak on this not only with our clients each and every week within our program, supporting their journey. We also speak on stages. We educate police, nurses, moms, pastors, community members, anybody who's interested in hearing from us. We've got speaking gigs coming up here. And if you're interested in having us come speak to your church or your neighborhood or whatever, please reach out through our email, stopsis@protonmail.com. We would love to connect with you. And then donate. We are looking for donations to support our upcoming retreat, where we take 10 girls and do some life-giving exercises, create a space that they normally wouldn't want to or feel comfortable participating in. But because they've gotten to know us and each other through our programs, the retreat is something they look forward to each and every year. And we can't wait to do it again this April. So thank you to anybody who goes to Venmo and donates to Stop SIS. You can also go to our website and set up a subscription. That, of course, is the most favorite way to support our work, because then we've got consistent income coming in to support the podcast and the travels and the educational materials that we create. All right, I am going to pull up the next slide. Rachel, if you want to share anything while I do that.
Sure, I sure do. Oh, and so just so you know, this is kind of an older shirt, but the shirt that Denise has on is one of our newer shirts, and it's in red, white, and blue, but it says "Open Blind Eyes to Trafficking in America." If that's something you're interested in, you can absolutely message us again at STOPSIS at Proton Mail. What are they, 25?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, 25. And we will send you your shirt.
All right. If you've got any questions about online safety, now is the time to share those questions as well. And Rachel will take us through.
Yeah. So online predators, guys. Okay. So I was having a conversation with my city commissioner, actually, not too long ago. And we were talking about the spas, and we were talking about the process of getting in there and ministering to these girls. He had no idea that type of thing was happening in our town. But we got to talking about our kids and their safety. And he went through several things, good things that he does to keep his girls safe. And I was like, yes, absolutely. But you do know that, your kid can be trafficked within her own home. And he goes, no, my home is safe. And I said, do they have devices? Well, yes, they do. But he just had no idea that the things that could take place. And he got to talking about, well, I see the things they post, and I know that they're doing it, okay, guys, but there's a whole other world that is out there. Statistically, they say 500,000 predators are online at any given moment trying to entice our children into doing things that end up leading to trafficking. I think the number is way higher than that. But I just want us to understand that what our kids are holding in their hands with devices can be more dangerous than, walking across town at night by themselves. Like, it's literally extremely dangerous what our kids are facing. So with that being said, I'm going to start with some statistics. The U.S. Child Safety Agency received more than 32 million reports of online enticement, child sexual abuse material, and child sex trafficking in 2022, up 2.7 million from the previous year. Go ahead and go to the next slide. The U.S. Child Safety Agency noted that while child sexual abuse material was the largest category, online enticement reports increased by 82%, driven by rising financial sextortion, where children are targeted to share explicit photos and extorted for money. This is the type of thing that, just keep going, because I think my stats are going to speak to exactly what I'm about to say. Only 7% of parents knew that their kids received inappropriate content from adults, and 1 in 5 children reported that an online predator contacted them. That's what's reported. Again, I think that number is way higher, but 7% of parents knew. And that's not to shame any of you. Like, I get it. If you don't know, you don't know. But that's why we're here. We want you to know so that you can keep your kids safe. The conversations that can happen on the other side of your child's device. And you may think, well, they don't have Snapchat. They don't have TikTok. They don't have social media. There's still ways that predators find their way to your children. I have a particular situation where my daughter was 8 years old at the time, was playing on a Barbie app. It seemed extremely innocent. I had no reason to think that it wasn't. But somehow there was a messaging capability that I didn't see when I first looked through that app. And 2 predators contacted my daughter and said absolutely awful things to her at 8 years old. And so I contacted the police. I gave them all of the information. I'm thankful that I search through my daughter's device often so that I can see those things. And that's how I found it. She didn't come and tell me because she felt shame about it. She saw where it said really dirty words and she thought she would get in trouble. And so having that conversation of this is not your fault came forward. But the police told me, they can't even figure out where this person's from. It looks like he's from Australia, but it very well could be that he's got the type of, technology that he lives in the same town as you, but it shows that his computer's in Australia. These predators are very, very good at what they do. What's my next slide, Denise? I'm not remembering. Okay, how they work. Yes, this is what I want to talk about. So they hunt, lure, and they groom. So basically, they're going to hunt around social media sites. They're going to look for kids or any app or any messaging capability. And guys, even the Bible app. There was a girl who was trafficked through the Bible app because it has messaging capabilities. They can get a hold of your child in so many different ways. But they're going to look for children who are vulnerable. They're going to entice them with nice language and compliments, or some of them might even produce gifts of sorts if they get enough information from your child. Kids don't know how much to share on social media or on these different things. They overshare. And so these predators take all of that information. And then when they start to contact them, they're like, oh, I saw you had a little sister. I saw that she goes to this school. I saw that, you must live in this town because I saw you at this place. And so all of a sudden they know enough information that it scares the child to where when they then say, hey, I want you to send me a picture of this, or I will do this to your little sister because I know where she goes to school. Things can escalate to that level very quickly based on the knowledge that these predators gain from our children. The one who contacted my daughter was trying to convince her to do like this role play. And I've read where that, like through the Barbie stuff, and I've read that is one of the ways where they groom a child, is they do this pretend play, which then will lead to real life situations and the child feels trapped. But your child can literally be trafficked from inside their bedroom with you right next door, having absolutely no idea. And it's because they go ahead and they feel the pressure to send that picture. Maybe they think they're in a relationship with this guy on the other side of the screen. who makes them feel seen and heard and validated for the first time. He understands that mom is way too hard on me, and he gets it. And so, yeah, he wants a picture. Okay. And then he wants a little bit more and a little bit more. And before long, the child is sending pictures without clothes, which then that person sells. That's trafficking.
What questions do you guys have who are listening? And then the other thing I want to consider is the technology is always changing. My son doesn't have a phone, but he turns 13. He has a phone that he can play games on, but he doesn't have like social media or a phone number or any of that kind of thing. And he's told me recently, like, oh, I'm the only one, and he turns 13 soon. So we'll probably end up getting him a phone. But I said, what are you missing? Like, what do you think is happening? And he said, text conversations and Be Real. I was like, Be Real. Okay, so Be Real is a new social media that kids are using. And as parents, we got to figure out what that is and what that looks like and how it works. And I just think that it's something to think about, right? It's not going to be the thing that we know and understand. We need to figure out what they are doing and how they're communicating, because guess what? The predators are.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's important to have the discussion of sexting as well, especially with teenagers. I think the age is like 15 to 17 where it's the worst, but I mean, any age it could happen. I have somebody near and dear to me who some boys pressured her to send a topless picture when she was 12 years old. And she did. And it got passed along from one guy to the next guy to the next guy. And the cops came knocking on her door. And I shared this story with a local high school as well, because the cops came knocking on her door saying, you just shared child porn. That's illegal. Now, granted, she was coerced by these other boys, and they were able to see that through the text messaging. And so she didn't end up in trouble, but the point being, that is child porn. That is illegal. And I shared that with a local high school. And before the day was over, a girl came forward to the principal and said, I need your help because I have sent pictures to these 3 boys and I want them to delete it off of their phone. And so this was a Christian high school. And they started to have the conversation that these pictures are being sent around. And you guys, a lot of times this is where a girl she thinks that's her worth. And that's just the beginning. And then she does a little bit more because she feels like she has to.
Well, and shame takes over. So when we're taught, or when we're kids, we're taught that good things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people. And so if a bad thing happens to us, then we often own it rather than putting the blame where it needs to be, which is on the predator himself. Mm-hmm. And so we often own these, and it can be decades of carrying that burden, which impacts the way that we handle our coping skills. I mean, oftentimes we go down the negative coping skills more quickly, and then we have to learn the positive ones. And so it just to say, oh, it's no big deal, it actually really is a big deal, because decades later, that person still could be suffering the consequences, not only of the trauma itself, but from the negative coping skills that were fruit from that negative or traumatic experience and the shame that came from after.
Absolutely.
We got a new speaking gig, whoop, whoop, outside of Grand Rapids. Actually, definitely introduce us to your husband's cousin. We'd love to connect with the school resource officer.
Sweet. Yes.
I think that would be a powerful conversation. And we certainly do go to high schools, and Rachel shares her story. Ashley says he did a training at a school assembly and had 2 young girls come to him after the assembly that they were being targeted by online predators. Wow. Yeah, you just don't know because people don't talk about it, and there is such shame. Mm-hmm. Jill, you'll have to tell me about this Be Real thing. Like, all I know is our youth group pastor has been like, oh, I'm getting a ding. I got to take a picture for Be Real. So I don't know what it is, but I know that he did do that. Catherine says over 1,100 confirmed new cases solely on the Kick app.
Yeah, okay. Kick app's a big one.
Yeah. Jill says Snapchat is still happening. Okay, good to know.
I can't believe it either.
Yeah. Parenting in a Technology World is a Facebook group that has really helped with guidance on apps. Be real is a hard no. Good for her. And then Catherine says the appropriate placement of blame is such a key issue. Yes, you're exactly right. Because when we carry it ourselves, that's what spirals the negative coping and harmful coping skills that compound the trauma itself.
Right. And a lot of people will place that on you because it's easier to blame the victim than it is to blame the person who's actually causing it.
Yeah.
I do think, do I go in next on my slides to tips?
Yeah.
These are just Rachel's tips. There's probably, I mean, guys, you can Google tips. There, Protect Young Eyes is a fantastic resource as well that we've had on our podcast. But there's so many different tips out there. It's standing up to your kids and saying, like, I get it. You might not be the most popular for this reason, but you're not going to be trafficked. Some of my tips are kids' electronics should always be used in a common area with adults around. That means not alone in their bedroom, not in the bathroom. This means out in the living room where people can see what they're on and what they're doing. They will be less likely to sneak into things that they shouldn't be, or messaging with somebody that they shouldn't be. It helps keep things on the up and up. No apps with messaging capabilities. Of course, as your child gets older, as they start to reach teenage years and they're driving and all of that things change. And as you'll see later on, our children's brain changes throughout these years. And we cannot give our child something that their brain is just simply not able to use in the correct way. Like, we're setting our kids up for failure. No social media. Social media in many ways, I mean, yes, there's some good, like we're on how many social media platforms right now? But we also all know that it's really hard for kids to not get addicted or to not feel shame, body shaming, lifestyle change. Like, there's so many hard things with social media, not to mention the risks and the dangers involving trafficking and abuse. Use Bark or Gab phones. Those are two that I know. Maybe you guys know of others. Let me know. Bark phone and Bark, just putting it on my kids' tablets and such has been super helpful. Yeah, they're limited in what they do, but they got enough. And we have had no issues since doing that. So use those phones or other safety apps to spot and report inappropriate or threatening things on your child's phone. Communicate expectations and rules with your child often. Communication, as Denise says, if you talk about things all the time, like it's normal communicating, then when something hard comes up, it's going to be natural for you to communicate. And that's what we want for our kids. We want them to naturally come to us when things are scary on their phone. And you go to the next one. Practice and role play different scenarios with your child. We learned this from Protect Young Eyes. He said, practice with your kids. Have them go in the other room, we're not going to let them be in their bedroom. So have them go in the living room with their device and then have them holler at you and say, Mom, I just got a message from somebody I don't know saying something like this. And let them see what your response will be. You show them in that role play practice how you will respond to them. So if it ever happens, the child will not have a fear of how you will react. They will know my mom's not going to blame me. My mom's going to be cool with this and help me, not, get me in trouble or ground me from my phone. Don't let your kids go to a friend's house that doesn't have protection or rules with the internet and social media. Guys, when kids get together, their mind spirals and they end up getting on different sites and doing things that they wouldn't normally do when they're at home with you. And if a friend has unlimited internet and social media, it could get so dangerous so fast. And remember, it's never the child's fault when they are enticed, tricked, or exploited online. So this is something I wanted to share because it shows the brain development of a child. So the blue represents maturing of the brain areas. And you can obviously see through this little girl's life from age 5 to age 20, the maturity of her brain as it grows. And we learn that, your brain is not done developing until 25. But I want you to think about handing a girl in the first block or the second block a phone, and look at her brain and look how it's not prepared to handle what this dangerous world within their phone has to offer. They're simply not capable of handling it to the ability that an adult would. And so again, it goes back to it's not their fault. If they get a phone and they get an app or they disobey us, guys, look at their dang brain. I mean, they're not mature enough to handle this type of addiction and temptation. They're just not. And so it's got to be us who protect them. It's got to be to have limits on their technology and what they see and do.
Catherine says, especially if the perpetrator is some sort of perceived hero. So you're thinking about who they're either a person in their world that is somebody they look up to, somebody that they want to be like, and then that can translate online as well to people that they look up to. I mean, think of all these YouTubers and the communities that the YouTubers create. How do we know that that's safe? So just, it's one, you can act. And I think that's for all of us, just to keep our eyes open to what's happening in our world so we can make appropriate decisions for our family.
Yeah. So this is not meant to send you into fear and I'm going to keep my kids in a bubble and never let them live outside of my house again. This is knowledge is power. And it is. It's just a way that we can protect and move forward safely.
So it's coming up to the top of the hour. We've got one more giveaway. I'm kind of thinking, what if we give away an Open Blind Eye shirt?
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you guys like an Open Blind Eyes? Open Blind Eyes to Trafficking in America. If that's something you're interested in, we can do a giveaway in just a few minutes to anybody who has shared, liked, or commented. So be sure, if you haven't yet, to share this live, comment, and then I'll reach out to you for size and your address, and we'll get that shipped out to you as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Good idea.
All right. So we are moving into our last half hour. I want to say
time has gone by so fast.
It really has. It really has. It never sounds long, but I can tell you with, hey, Sarah. Sarah says the shirts have been helpful for me to start the conversation with people. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. She wears them to Pilates all the time.
Yeah. Her Pilates class is going to be so informed.
That is right. So thank you so much for that. If you have not yet, be sure to share, comment, and donate to Stop SIS. We are doing a fundraiser today. It is Human Trafficking Awareness Day. This is our Venmo. Anything you donate is appreciated. It is a 501c3 and a tax write-off for you, and everything goes directly to supporting us, educating schools, police, nurses, moms, as well as working with those on the healing journey through several of our programs, including 90-Day U-Turn, which I call a loving kick in the right direction, where we work with survivors and help them to understand why, what fight or flight mode is, what are flashbacks, what are triggers, and how do you retrain your nervous system and your brain to live and rest and digest. And so some ladies who've gone through the program with us are now in college getting degrees. They've switched jobs. They have built houses. They're living their dream life and truly stepping into who God created them to be, not because they forgot about their past, but because they have truly started the healing journey and have created a powerful community of people who are locking arms with them and supporting them while they do so, including the retreat that we're doing in a few months. So if any of you are on your healing journey and you want a community of other survivors who can partner with you, we are starting another round of 90-Day U-Turn in just the next week. So reach out to STOPSIS at protonmail.com. We'll put that website up in a bit again as well. So STOPSIS@protonmail.com, or you can go to our website, Stop Suffering, and send us a message, and we'll get you connected to 90-Day U-Turn. For 90-Day U-Turn participants, we ask that you pay what you can or do a donation, and we fundraise the rest at events just like this. So your donation goes directly to support the ladies going through the program and coming to the retreat in April, where we always end the retreat with a dream dinner, where we pretend like it's 5 years from now and we've accomplished all of our goals. And it's, again, it's amazing to, number one, see their spark back, but then also to see things start to come to fruition. God is certainly in the midst here.
Oh, for sure.
All right. So for those of you that have shared and liked and commented, I'll go ahead and choose a winner for the t-shirt. And we have Jim Klaus. You won the t-shirt. Thank you so much. We will be messaging you for your size and your address. And I'm writing this down right now. So
Yeah, me too.
so we remember. But thank you to everybody who has just participated today, interacted with us, are interested in this conversation. This ministry is just 1.5 years old, and God is taking it places. So we just appreciate you being a part of that and helping us spread the word about these important topics.
Amen.
All right. We've got one last cool slide.
Oh, shoot. I don't remember what it is. It'll be a surprise.
It'll be a surprise.
Q&A.
All right, we are going to end our discussion today with some Q&A, with some story times. If you want to hear some stories, or if you've got questions about Rachel's experience personally, she can certainly share what she can about her own experience. I know you've got kind of the little bit of a view on what she experienced, but certainly you can ask questions about her story. You can ask questions about the healing journey. You can ask questions about trafficking in general, but here we're going to open it up to you. What do you want to talk about? You're the reason why we are here as we continue to spread awareness. It takes people like you being interested in learning to make it happen. So
one question that I saw earlier, and somebody had said, what can the community do to help? So what's your thoughts on that? What would you say to a community that wants to start making a difference?
Well, I think a few things. Number one, having your eyes open means that if you see something, say something. Be loud to any school administrator and keep going until you find someone who will listen if you see something that is not right. That's the community banding together and not tolerating inappropriateness is paramount. The other thing is just as a next step is making your home as safe as possible for your own kids and the people that come into your door. I know that one of the things you say quite often is that when you were experiencing abuse, you didn't go to your parents right away. In fact, you told friends, and the friends told parents. And in fact, you've even had some of your kids' friends come and talk to you. And so being that person that your kids' friends deem is safe is a pretty interesting thing to think about too. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I love that. And I hadn't actually paused to think about that in that way, but you're right. I love that some of them have felt safe enough to want to talk to me. I think also the more we have conversations on this stuff, the more that kids will be able to put words to something that they're experiencing if they're experiencing it. I think that's why I have a passion of wanting to get in the school system, because we talk about good touch, bad touch, but long before the good touch, bad touch happens, the grooming process already took place. And so the child is already, they've lost the ability to speak up because the perpetrator has warped their perception of things and has played with their heart and their mind and done all of these things prior to that. It takes the fight out of the child. And so I think having conversations is so important. And Schools is a great place to do that. Churches is another great place, youth groups, but creating those safe places for kids to come forward.
The other thing I think about is, hold on, I just lost it. You were talking about, keep going and it'll come back to me.
Okay. Communicating, the importance of communicating with our kids. Yeah.
Oh, this was another one. Okay. So another question that people ask us a lot, this is what I was thinking, is how do I talk to my kids? And you have a unique perspective on that as well. So instead of saying, is somebody hurting you?
Yes. Yeah. So if somebody would have asked me, and I think I said this briefly, if somebody would have asked me when I was being hurt, is anybody hurting you? I would have said no. But if somebody would have said to me, who makes you feel special? Who gives you a lot of attention? Who plays a lot of games with you, or, gives you things, or what? Then it would have given you a window into who has ownership over my life at that point, who is inappropriately involved in my life, which can lead you to see abuse that is taking place. So yeah, when talking to your kids, also, you got to be mindful, since over 90% of them know their perpetrator, whether they think they're protecting you. We've had survivors who it was their grandfather who was abusing them. And, they want to protect their mom by not, because it would break her heart if she knew what her grandfather, or if she knew what her dad was doing. So kids feel this sense of, I need to make sure that I don't hurt somebody. But having them know you aren't doing the hurting, this isn't just having that conversation with them too. Of it's, I don't know, that can go a long way.
So what do you think? What can communities do?
I think they could have Stop SIS come and speak.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. That's a thought. And the only reason I say that is because literally every time that we have stood on a stage and I've shared my story, and we've shared other experiences that we've had with survivors, person after person stands in line and comes and tells me too. Like, how did you know my story type thing? Or, I saw this happening to so-and-so, and now I know what was really going on. Or I've had one young man come up to me and say, my brother came forward a few years ago and nobody believed him. I didn't even believe him because the guy he said that was hurting him was an elder of our church. There's just no way. And now he sees that his brother was probably telling the truth. And for the first time, he was like, I'm calling my brother right now and apologizing, and we're going to make this right. Like, lives get changed because you start to see you're not suffering in silence. You hear other people's stories. There's power in your testimony. And God's just been working through an awful story that I have and bringing good from it. And so, yeah, I think having some sort of education, some sort of awareness event, something that opens the eyes of your community. And I absolutely loved the quote that you said earlier, and I'm probably going to butcher it. But you said something about how it is our job as humans to lock arms and protect one another. And that's true.
Yeah. What other questions do you guys have? Or any stories or questions that you might have for Rachel?
Nobody's asking questions. Maybe we answered all their questions.
All of the questions they would ever
questions
have.
are answered. Yep. We're good.
Well, what I'll say too is, you guys, we do have a podcast where we share each and every week, whether it is a reaction to a current event or something about the healing journey, anxiety, depression, mental health, or trafficking and what that looks like. Be sure to like our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, Instagram. Rachel does reels consistently and goes viral, and so you need to see what she's up to. She's doing a lot of stuff that's really fun, based on how, like, she shares what she's experiencing and thinking and growing, and you get a little insight into her heart and mind there as well. But if you know of anybody who would be interested in hearing us speak, hear Rachel share her story in creating a space for education to an awareness please reach out to STOPSIS at protonmail.com. And thank you to everybody for being here, for donating. It takes a village to raise our children, and we want to partner with you on your own healing journey, but then also to keep our kids safe. So, Rachel, any parting words?
I'm just super grateful. We had a lot of interaction, people that I don't know. It was neat to get to see their thoughts and some people that I love dearly on there as well. So thank you guys for your support. It wouldn't be possible. Like, we can't do this without you guys. And, you know, Denise and I, we put in a lot of time because we care so deeply about this. And we are constantly thinking of new ways to help people who are hurting. And, you know, we get to do that because we have people like you who are donating and who are supporting us and who understand that this is a cause that's worth supporting. And so I appreciate that so much.
Amen. Well, I can tell you the healing that Rachel, the growth I've seen in Rachel over the past few years is testament to what's possible. And so not only with her, but the girls that we work with, healing is happening and a dream life is possible. And so if you are suffering in silence, feeling alone, and you want to participate in our community and be a part of some of our programs, please email and we'll reach out. We'll schedule a quick call, tell you all about it, and see if it's a good fit for you. But we'd love to support you because we know what's possible.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here.
Comments.
Oh, we do. Okay. Let's see. Yes. Bonnie says it's scary to think about how many ways kids can be exposed. Yeah. And I think some of it will just be teaching them teaching them the way so they then don't step into it in a sense. So even if they see a weird message, they don't respond. Or
Right.
They consider it spam. Like a lot of us get asked about, how many of us get sugar daddy messages? Anyone? No, just me. Okay. Well, I just ignore them. And so communication is key. So if communicating, like Rachel mentioned before, if communicating is normal, then when there's something hard to communicate about, that will feel more normal too. So
Ruth Ann, I like your profile pic.
Yes, look at you. Very impressive.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Ruth Ann.
Yes.
Huge hugs for both of you. Lord bless. Yes. Amen. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. It is Human Trafficking Awareness Day, and I hope that you gained some awareness. So thank you for spreading the word. Let us know how we can support you. And Rachel, we'll see you on the podcast next week.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this powerful episode of Stop Suffering in Silence. If you are interested in booking Rachel to speak at your event, workshop, school, church, or organization, then please email racheltimothy.stopsis@gmail.com. If you are interested in donating to the STOPSIS ministry, then please check out the link in the description box or show notes below. Or you can email stopsis@protonmail.com. And finally, if you are currently suffering in silence or you know somebody who is, then check out our website, stopsuffering.org, to learn more about our online programs and resources. We will always recommend that you also reach out to your local resources and find a counselor that you can trust, because nobody is meant to suffer alone. Have an amazing week, and thank you for being here.